family, that is really good idea.
There's something for them to do then. Because what are these guys doing right now? I mean, right now they're getting themselves over, which if you look at everyone else who's gotten themselves over, like Rusev's been buried. Other guys, like even Daniel Bryan for most of his time was being buried. He never got to that height that the fans wanted him to get to. So people get themselves over, never work out. And honestly, I think if that is part of the story to bring them into the Woken family, it would work even better for them. Because right now, Matt Hardy, I mean, yeah, he didn't do a great job as kind of like the cult leader. And Bray Wyatt, we know he's a good job being a cult leader. So if you just make this into a huge faction, and there's a rumor of a new faction that's apparently going to be starting up in the WWE, and it gives those guys a chance to go against an established faction in WWE.
And don't forget to add in the fact that Bo Dallas is actually Bray Wyatt's brother.
Yes,
so it works perfectly.
And the new faction that is being teased is a faction of Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara, what's the other guy?
No Way Jose?
No, the guy on 205 Live who was the champion.
Not Kalisto.
Kalisto. No, who was the champion. So Kalisto, Sin Cara, Rey Mysterio, and Andrade Cien Almas, bringing in Latino World Order. Rey Mysterio said it in an interview.
Where is this?
He said it in an interview in Mexico. He said he wants those 4 guys to get together to become a faction.
He might want that, but that would never happen.
I'm just saying if they were to do it, because they want Rey Mysterio to come.
Andrade's career.
Never going to happen.
They want Rey Mysterio to come to a long-term deal. They want that. They've brought him back twice now for just things. They want Rey Mysterio, and you know what? On paper, not saying realistically, but on paper, that could be a pretty good match. Could be. Not saying it would be. It could be. And Vince McMahon, he's looking at money. He's looking at that, I don't know, the Woken Warriors versus those guys to get like a faction war going. Because Vince loves faction wars and he loves money. So, he had some pretty big stars in that match. So that would bring people to watch it. I'm not saying I want to see it. I'm just saying that that could be a setup for it. Is what I'm saying.
That's something I'd actually want to see, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm all for factions and teams of 4 and just established stables, because it's something that they had back in the day. They really don't in this day and age. I'm all for Rey Mysterio signing with the WWE. I just don't think it's going to be with a guy like Andrade. How do you say his name?
Andrade Cien Almas.
I mean, he's such a mega heel. Like he's so full of himself. And Rey Mysterio is the ultimate baby.
He would have been perfect for the Money in the
I like
Bank.
the idea of the faction versus faction, just not that.
I'm just saying he said it in an interview, and that's what people have been speculating it could be going towards.
Maybe the Woken Warriors taking on the Undisputed Era when they get called up. You could do that.
I mean,
I'm all for the Woken Warriors.
But they're not going to be getting called up for a while, though.
I hope they never get called up.
From now, I
hope they never get called up. They are too good where they are.
Speaking of someone who's too good, and just we mentioned him a second ago, but Curtis Axel is a guy who his father is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. His grandpa was a great wrestler in Larry the Axe Hennig. And to me, here's a guy who has so much charisma. He doesn't have the look, he's losing his hair. He just doesn't have the typical wrestling body, but he's got the charisma. He's got the smile. He can cut a promo. And we know Bo Dallas when motivated. I mean, he was an NXT champion, and he was awesome. And I liked this whole Bo Leave thing, and he's just kind of floundered since then. I think he might have got suspended, maybe for PhDs or PEDs, rather.
PhDs, he got real smart. He got real smart real quick.
So, I'd like to see them do something with them. He was, who was getting over? Axel was getting over when he was doing the Hulk Hogan thing. I don't know if you remember this a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Axelmania. And then Damian Sandow was the Macho Man, and it was awesome. And then Hogan, did his whole thing where he got fired from the company for the whole, whatever. We're not going to get into that. But unfortunately, they had to drop the gimmick because they're not going to have a Hogan impersonator when Hogan just got fired. So, it's very start and stop with his career. He was once a Paul Heyman guy.
He was, and a champ.
He was the Intercontinental Champion, a Tag Team Champion, so hopefully this gets him on the right track. Let's move on, though. Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey signed their Raw contract. This is just Stephanie McMahon just having to be the center of attention for this contract signing.
But then also, I feel like you had to bring out some type of, like anger between these two competitors. I feel like you need to start that. That needs to start. So I'm glad it kind of happened that way. That's what she was there for. She was saying both bad things about what they've said about each other. Get them aggravated, which you saw it worked. Obviously, we know that it's been rumored that Nia Jax could be joining forces with Stephanie. So Stephanie gets back at Ronda. So maybe this is the start of it. I'm hoping again, you just see more stuff to just make this more rivalry heated. So it's better to look forward to.
Also, real quick, I just want to mention that at the beginning of the show, Kurt Angle announced this was happening, and he said he was going to preside over it. And then Stephanie came out and went, "I'm going to preside over this, Kurt." And he kind of got really red and upset. So
every other Kurt segment.
Yeah, right. But he just straight up got called out on TV. You can't speak.
They should make it a triple threat and add Becky Lynch.
Yeah, Stephanie McMahon.
Oh. You guys are mean.
All right,
you're bullies.
We're going to talk about Kurt Angle later on.
Kurt is still awesome. Don't worry. But
we're going to talk about how great he is later on.
He has brain damage. He has literal brain damage. If they did an autopsy of his brain, it will not look good.
We can just talk about his neck. He has no neck.
Yes.
It's his head.
The man has sacrificed countless things for this business.
Also tried to kill Shane twice.
That's good.
Yeah, Shane's
yeah.
I actually, real quick, I want to move on to the next match in this card, only because it was Chad Gable versus Dolph Ziggler. And you kind of had tension there between, they had their backstage promo to lead to this match. And then you had, Drew McIntyre afterwards.
The 2-on-1 attack, yeah.
They had a 2-on-1 attack. So I think this is setting up perfectly that you're going to see Jason Jordan return tonight. I think there's going to be more of an attack on it, and I really think that's what they're going to be going with.
And there you get your tag team thing. And they could just ignore this whole Kurt Angle thing, too.
Here's the thing, yes, you are getting American Alpha back, and we know how good they're were.
Amazing.
But at the same time, it's still to me, it's just not enough. They don't have enough tag teams on Raw. I'm sorry.
Apparently,
not enough good ones.
I was looking online. I actually have on my phone right now. CBS Sports is saying that they think Jason Jordan's going to come back, and before he does anything, he's going to go after Seth Rollins.
Well, yeah, I've been saying that
Money
too.
in the Bank.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, I think that the Chad Gable feud with Ziggler and McIntyre. Gee, I messed that up.
It's all right.
Yeah. We all do it. Don't worry.
I don't think Jason Jordan's coming back in this feud. I think it's there to tease the fans into thinking he's going to come back, but he's going to come back going after Rollins, like you said.
Yeah.
It just makes the most sense with the whole storyline that happened before.
That's what I want more. That's what I've been saying throughout the weeks, but I'm just saying now that they're setting this up, it kind of feels like you're going to be going for that more. But I want him to come back and go after Rollins. I think that's perfect, because then you could have him say, you didn't help me after our match at the Rumble or whatever. We just got destroyed, and then I was out. You could use something like that. I don't know.
I want to see American Alpha eventually come back, though.
Yeah, I have no interest in the Jason Jordan singles run. To me, Chad Gable is
I'm interested in the
better
Chad Gable
wrestler.
single run, though.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah, but like you said, the tag team division's lacking, and if he gets a single run, it's not going to go far. He's a tiny guy. Yeah. There's so many guys
and he can't
ahead
work the
of
mic
him.
very well either.
Yeah, but I think he's a little better than Jason Jordan. Let's have them be, the dominant tag team on Raw.
At the same time, though, if McIntyre and Ziggler do get a shot at the Woken Warriors next, then where does American Alpha go from there? I mean, they were in limbo on SmackDown for a good 6 months without doing anything.
You have to build them up.
You don't want that to happen again.
That's what was also going on during those 6 months, though.
They'll probably have a squash feud with the Revival to get.
What was the big feud going on for those 6 months while they were there?
The Usos and the New Day.
Right, which was so good that if you honestly put American Alpha in there, I'm pretty sure people would have rioted. That rivalry, we saw it at SummerSlam, was one of the best matches of the night on the pre-show. So they definitely didn't want to just throw anyone else in there. At the same time, though,
they kept going back and forth with that, where I remember being on the show. That's kind of like when I just recently joined the show, and Justin just wasn't a fan because you have the tag team titles just going back and forth.
Yeah, but the rivalry was amazing. The rivalry
was good. Don't get me wrong. Oh, it was great.
And their Hell in a Cell match is one of the best matches of the year.
I agree. I think they had the best rivalry of the year up there, and I hate to say it, with Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. I thought did some good stuff last year.
I agree, too.
Let's move on. Bobby Roode versus Elias. Elias gets the victory over Roode. Elias, he's a character that, is very stop and start. He, lays out John Cena on the 25th anniversary of Raw. He basically gets squashed by Cena at Mania. It's, they have to pull the trigger with him. I think once this Universal title gets off of Brock Lesnar's hands, it opens the door up to guys like, Bobby Roode and Elias and all these other guys that, can't really contend with a Brock Lesnar. I think they'll be able to have feuds with guys like Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins.
I just still think it's crazy about how they have this championship on Brock Lesnar, simply because I feel like there's just there's literally only one title on Raw, and there's so much you can do with it. It's so hard for them to make so many other competitors look good or have a shot at any belts because there's only one belt.
Yeah, they really invested.
They're really messing this up.
They invested everything in Brock, and it all started obviously when he beat The Undertaker at Mania, and from there you realized, all right, they're going to have the title be on him. He's in the title picture, and it does take away from Raw because we don't get any Universal title matches on Raw. You don't get any Universal title matches at pay-per-views. He's not going to be at this pay-per-view. So, once that's done, he won't be champion after SummerSlam.
You know what's crazy, though, about Brock Lesnar, just really quickly, is that I watched a pay-per-view, I think it might have been a WrestleMania of him versus The Rock.
SummerSlam 2002.
Oh, SummerSlam? Okay. And during that pay-per-view, The Rock, who is probably one of the most over people of all time, was being booed, and they were going crazy for Brock Lesnar. So there was a time in wrestling when Brock Lesnar was incredible, and it's amazing to see how far he's fallen.
And that's right. That was right there at Nassau Coliseum.
Right.
But, Brock can still be good when he's motivated. I think he puts on decent matches when he goes up against guys like AJ Styles or Samoa Joe, or even his stuff with Reigns isn't awful. It's, when he's gone up against a guy like Orton or an older guy like a Big Show, it's just kind of like, oh my God, we've seen him versus Mark Henry and Big Show 5,000 times. Yeah. This is just boring.
And even the Braun feud wasn't that good.
No, it was underwhelming, and I think they should have, went the distance and gave it to Braun.
I think the opportunity to capitalize on it, but they definitely did not.
Hopefully, by the end of this year, we see a Samoa Joe title run and we see a Braun Strowman title run. I think those are the two guys.
Even if Brock were to lose the belt tomorrow, I don't think Bobby Roode or Elias are even close to that. They don't deserve it at all. And
not yet. Well, but again, it's going to open up opportunity eventually because, right now they're
not... But for other guys, not those two.
No. But they're not even going to factor in having Bobby Roode for, they're not even going to factor in Bobby Roode having a chance to... compete because they need to work. He needs to work up for it. But without Brock being there and having a new champion, let's say it is Reigns. Eventually, Bobby Roode could get up there to eventually verse Roman Reigns.
Well, the bottom line with those two is I just hope we're done seeing those two wrestle on Raw because it's
Roode
getting ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, a lot of these rivalries is just way too much every single week.
It's funny you bring that up because I just wanted to mention, because obviously you've had this going back and forth where Bobby Roode versus Elias, you've had different winners each time, where I feel like this could be a pre-show match at Money in the Bank. I know it's aggravating to see, but that would officially end it.
Well, no, because Roode's in the Money in the Bank.
Oh, yeah.
Is Elias not in the Money in the Bank?
No, he's got nothing to do with it.
I have no idea what's going on.
That's
Elias
shocking.
Needs to go out and sing for the Chicago crowd. That needs to happen.
Yeah, but he needs to wrestle too.
Yeah, well,
he should have been at WrestleMania. He was over. The fans, dig him, and the fact that he's not going to be wrestling at another pay-per-view, I think is just bad booking. And I don't know who's going to win this Money in the Bank ladder match, but that's not for a few weeks. But right now, let's take a little break, right?
Well, hold on. Let's do the last match.
Last main event. Okay, so Finn Balor versus Braun Strowman. I thought this was a really good match.
This was a good match. It had some good moments and everything, and then you saw, see, here's one thing that I want to bring up that I brought up last week about with Braun Strowman. It's annoying how after the match, he, shook Finn Balor's hand.
Oh, my God.
What is that? Braun Strowman would never do that.
Yeah. I'm completely fine with that. Finn earned his respect. It was a good story.
I understand.
It was a good match.
I understand that.
What respect? This guy last week talked about killing children, and now he talks about shaking hands. What's going on?
It's just, I don't know. To me, all right. It's not that I understand that he earned his respect. I get that point of view. But I'm saying for Braun Strowman, with his type of character, where they're totally messing up with him right now. They should have kept him how he was. Is now shaking hands after a match? No, I would expect him to shake his hand, grab him, and then do it again.
Yes. But putting Braun Strowman with kids as tag team partner and telling stories about how he's doing good things, that's the problem. But shaking Finn's hand after a match, being a babyface, is not the end of the world.
I don't know. I hope they have some...
He's too all over the place. Talking about murder, and then you talk about shaking, and then you start shaking hands, and he's a good guy. And then next week, tonight he'll do a match, and he'll murder, basically destroy someone in the ring. And it's what do you... No, where do you cross... Where do you get the line? Let's say tonight he goes against, Kevin Owens, right? And they put on a great match again, right? Because they did it, a couple weeks ago, right? Mm-hmm. Is he going to shake Kevin Owens' hand? No, he's going to probably power slam him 20 times, go roar, and they'll go to commercial.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like they just throw Braun Strowman into places, which is exactly, with every Raw superstar right now, they just throw him into random places because there's no Universal title. There's nothing to
part of
work
his character
for
right now is that he's unpredictable. He could do anything whenever he feels like it.
One of the problems is it's tough to be a 7 foot tall, 10 times bigger than your opponent and be a babyface. what sympathy are you going to have for this character if a character like Finn Balor started chopping down his leg? I mean, it's hard for a guy like a Big Show to get sympathy, or a Brock Lesnar. So I think Strowman does his best stuff as a heel. He just so happened to get over for doing heel stuff. And I'm with Dom. I wish they kind of kept the same traits that were getting him over and just kind of doing that thing, and then, just